Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kayfabe Central podcast, and welcome back to another Monday Night Raw preview episode where I go over everything that is going to go down on Monday Night Raw, everything that is announced that is for Monday Night Raw. I can't remember if I did this last week. I don't think I did because of all the pre-tape shows. So we are back live. We are not having any more pre-tape shows, at least for now. Excuse me. But yeah, well, we got Monday Night Raw tonight for the first Monday Night Raw of 2026 on January 5th. A big episode of Monday Night Raw to go down. A lot of championship matches. I say a lot, three championship matches to be specific. Some rumors going down for this show as well. Um, this is going to be a very marquee episode for Monday Night Raw. So, yeah, man, we're gonna get straight into Monday Night Raw and everything that's gonna go down tonight. Before we get into that, though, obviously for TikTok, guys, if you're not following me already, make sure you hit the follow button, all that good stuff. For YouTube, if you're in the live chat, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not already, even if you're watching this after the fact. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat, or if you're watching this after the fact, let me know down in the comments below whether you agree or disagree with anything I said, or just your thoughts in general. My sinuses are acting up. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, we're gonna get straight into Monday Night Raw. I was completely fine before I got on stream, and then as soon as I click go live, um, but yeah, we're gonna get straight into Monday Night Raw, guys. We're gonna break some of the stuff down, as I said. Um, Make sure you guys are dropping your thoughts down in the live chat, whether you're watching on TikTok, whether you're watching on YouTube. I am live on both right now, so make sure you guys drop all those thoughts down below. What should we go over first? Let's go over some rumors that we have, particularly one rumor, which is a return rumor. Um, that being the return of Chris Jericho. Uh, he is no longer under contract with with AEW, I should say. Um, I'm sorry, guys. Excuse me. I think we're good now. He's no longer under contract with AEW. His contract expired at December 31st at midnight. And so it is very heavily rumored that he is either going to return tonight on Monday Night Raw, or the Royal Rumble. Now, for me, I think it's one of those two options. If it's not tonight, it's going to be the Royal Rumble. I don't see him returning anywhere in between. Um, this is the biggest Monday Night Raw you can do for right now, until like maybe the next few months. Like I don't see him returning on the European tours or anything like that. I think it'll be either tonight to really kick off this year anniversary for being on Netflix, and I think it would make a little bit of sense. Now, in terms of how I feel about Chris Jericho potentially coming back to the WWE, it's more than likely going to be for some sort of retirement tour. Um, he's not going to be signed for long. I highly doubt it's even gonna be like a 2 year thing. And if it is a 2 year thing, then sure, but like it'll that's probably the max it'll be. I don't see it being anything more than that because realistically, I don't think the guy can go any more than that. I think he's strictly just going back to the WWE to finish off his career because that's where he started, and that's where he wants to end his career, and that's perfectly fine. Um, there's a few matches that they can do. Like as a whole, like I don't want to say I don't really care for Chris Jericho to come back. Like it'll still be a pretty cool moment if he returns tonight or if he returns at the Rumble. Obviously we had the hints from Adam Pearce on who's gonna break the walls down on his Raw preview. So we got a lot of hints thrown at here. So I'm gonna take a wild guess that Jericho does return tonight. I don't know where. I don't know if like somebody will have a segment and that's where Jericho returns or whatever the case may be. It would be hilarious. He just returns in a backstage segment, just appears. It would be the most underwhelming return ever. But no, I don't really see at the moment, like in terms of what they have announced. I don't know where he'd fit in. I can't see him getting involved in the world title match. Um, and obviously in neither of the women's matches that are announced. So they're probably gonna have some more stuff, obviously some more stuff on this episode of Raw, and he'll be slotted in somewhere if he is to return tonight on Monday Night Raw. It'll be interesting to see who they pair him up with first. Maybe it's a case of, they just have him return, they have him come out. Maybe he kicks off Monday Night Raw. Maybe we kick off the night with a Chris Jericho return. And that's the big moment. Um, I'm curious if they're gonna go with the route of last year's premiere on Netflix, where it's not gonna be entirely long. There's gonna be like, few matches or whatever, and like very segment heavy kind of thing, and they only have the marquee matches on this Raw. I could see them going down that route. But yeah, Chris Jericho is rumored to return tonight, and it could be a good one. It's gonna get a loud pop. There's no way Chris Jericho is going to get a no pop return. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people in Brooklyn tonight are anticipating a Chris Jericho return. But I'm going to tell everybody this, and I'm going to, whether you're in Brooklyn or whether you're watching this at home, do not be surprised if he doesn't return tonight. Um, it's very likely that they'll save him for the Royal Rumble. And I know with Adam Pearce's hints, of breaking the walls down and whatnot. Um, it's very anticipated that he is going to return tonight, but take it with a grain of salt, guys. You know how many times WWE's done stuff like this before? So take it with a grain of salt because you never honestly know. Because we've had cases like this before. Uh, whether Chris Jericho returns tonight or not, he will be back at some point in the WWE, whether it be tonight or the Royal Rumble. Um, we'll save the world title stuff for last. We got Lyra Valkyria taking on Liv Morgan. Um, thank you CK for the likes. I appreciate it. Um, I, as much as I like Lyra and Liv, I don't really care about this match. Because I'm so sick and tired of these Judgment Day matches and just them meaning nothing. It goes the same way every single week. Interference and oh, maybe the heel wins this week. Maybe the babyface wins this week. But every time it's interference. And I like Liv and Lyra, like I said, I think they're both phenomenal competitors. But I don't really have any interest in it. And like I'm happy that they're doing something with the women's tag division. And I'm happy that they actually have a role now rather than, okay, we'll have a women's tag title match every 2 months. I'm glad that they're actually doing something with it now. But in terms of Liv versus Lyra, it does it really mean anything? Probably not. Let's see what I missed in the chat here. Crazy how I've been predicting Jericho's return since this summer. Yeah, it's been. I think since this summer is when it really started to like pick up with the rumors and everything. Um, so yeah, how's it going, Phoebe? Um, but yeah, so I again like take it with a grain of salt, guys. If Jericho doesn't return tonight, set yourselves up for that because I found when I set myself up for um disappointment. I'm much better off. I'm much happier when I don't get that thing. Um, who do you think Jericho will face at WrestleMania? That's a very good question. And to be truly honest, I really don't know. It's very hard to decipher that with everything going on right now. It's really hard to tell who anyone's WrestleMania opponent is going to be. Like, I could throw out predictions. Like, I think Punk and Gunther is going to be a Mania match. I unfortunately think Roman and Cody is going to be a Mania match again. Dominic is a good possibility as well. I wouldn't mind that. Dominic versus Jericho for the IC title would be pretty cool. He comes to the aid of Rey Mysterio. Or maybe they just do Dom and Ray again at WrestleMania. I have no clue. We got to see what his return is if he does return tonight. And if he returns at the Rumble, obviously we got to wait a little bit longer for that. But yeah, I have no clue at the moment right now. Um, Speaking of the women's tag team championships, God, good to see Liv is actually booked on a show. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. She usually just has like these segments or whatever, or is like at ringside. So yeah, it is good to see her wrestle. Um, is this her first match back? She's probably wrestled on live events, but in terms of a TV match, is this her first match back? I can't remember if she already wrestled before when she came back. Um, yeah, it's her first back. Okay, that's what I thought. So yeah, you know what? I'm sure she's been getting in the reps in the ring. But there's obviously a difference between training and actual TV. Punk is the likely opponent, but isn't Jericho missing WWE throughout all of February? Um, I have no clue. I have no clue. I appreciate that, Ian Store, for the follow. Thank you very much. Welcome to Kayfabe Central. Um, but yeah, speaking of the women's tag team championships, let's move over to there. And like I'll go through chat because we don't have a lot announced for Monday Night Raw anyway. But that's the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane taking on Riho, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky for those tag titles. Now, I was saying on the Kayfabe recap yesterday, I think these titles are the most likely to change hands tonight. Um, and for some reason, um, sorry guys, for some reason I didn't put the women's IC title match in the description on YouTube. But that is happening down tonight as well. But in terms of the women's tag titles, I think these are the most likely to change hands. I think Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are very likely to win. I can see the women's tag titles being like hot potato a little bit. And that's perfectly fine as long as it's good, right? Like it really heats up this women's tag division. Like anybody can win these titles at any given moment. Like so maybe Rhea and Io win it tonight, then maybe it's Bailey and Lyra, and then eventually we set up for a big match, whatever that big match is, and then you put it on the team that you want to hold that for quite some time. So I think Rhea and Io are very, very likely to win these tag titles tonight. Now, I'm not so certain with the Women's Intercontinental Championship match between Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree. I feel like this is a match that could very easily go either way. And I'm going to lean towards Maxine retaining, but at the same time, I will not be surprised at all if Becky Lynch wins this title back tonight because, as you know, Maxine Dupree has been improving a lot. She's been getting better every single week. But realistically, she's not walking into WrestleMania as Women's Intercontinental Champion. If WWE has the option between having Maxine Dupree walk in as Women's IC Champion or Becky Lynch, they're going to choose Becky Lynch at the end of the day. And especially if they want to do that Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee match at WrestleMania, unless they're completely scrapping it, then make that for the title. That it would make more sense if you made that for the title. So if Becky doesn't win it here, I think it's potentially Roxanne Perez could take that woman's IC title off of Maxine Dupree as well if Becky doesn't win tonight. Or maybe they literally just do another match after between Becky and Maxine. Um, but it is a very good possibility that Becky wins the title. Um, I don't know if they're gonna do two title changes on this show though. I really don't know if they're gonna do that. It's not likely for WWE to do something like that. They don't do that often. Usually it's one title that just changes hands, but maybe tonight's different. Maybe because it's the 1 year anniversary from their debut on Netflix, maybe they'll switch things up a little bit. But I'm almost certain that the women's tag titles are going to change hands, but I'm not so certain about that with the women's intercontinental championship. Um, I'm all caught up on the chat here. Um, Yeah, in terms of Jericho being away in February, is that the Fozzy tour? Is that what he's doing in February? Is that why he's not going to be around? Because if that's the case, then I guess that makes a little bit of sense. Um, so there's that, and The only other thing that we have announced is the World Heavyweight Championship match between CM Punk and Braun Breaker. We all know Jericho isn't returning tonight far too early. Well, his contract is up. He is a free agent. And we know WWE to act very quickly when somebody becomes a free agent. Um, and we had the teaser from Adam Pearce on his preview for Monday Night Raw. But I agree with you, Phoebe. I was literally just saying before you joined in, take it with a grain of salt, guys. Do not expect Jericho to return tonight. Set yourselves up for the disappointment so you're not disappointed. Um, because again, it's very likely he just returns at the Rumble. It's very likely that's when they save him for. Um, but that being that, yeah, but there's no way Adam Pearce is just gonna drop a teaser and have Jericho walk out of a hat. I mean, who knows? Who knows, right? WWE isn't uh they're not very good at like keeping secrets sometimes. Sometimes they're like, you know what, the obvious is the best way to go, so let's just make have him return here. I was saying I don't know where he'll be put in to return. Maybe he just has a segment and he just comes out to maybe even kick off Monday Night Raw. Um, Rumble is less than what 5 weeks or something. Yeah, it's the last week of January is the Rumble. I think like the 30th or the 31st or something like that. Um, but speaking of the Royal Rumble winner faces a world champion at WrestleMania, and the World Heavyweight Championship is on the line tonight on Monday Night Raw when CM Punk defends it against Braun Breaker. Um, Now, this is obviously the most interesting aspect of the show, along with the Chris Jericho stuff and whatnot. Um, in my mind, I feel like Braun Breaker should win the world title tonight, but I don't think he's going to. I think that if Seth Rollins is healthy enough for WrestleMania, we're going to do Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker in a non-title match at WrestleMania, and CM Punk retains tonight, and we set up CM Punk and Gunther at WrestleMania for the world title, and um Gunther beats Punk at Mania and wins that world title back. I think that's the route that we're likely going down. We already got the teaser for Punk and Gunther. So it's a very good possibility that we go down that route. I'm not fully expecting Braun Breaker to win the World Heavyweight Championship tonight. Maybe they pull a swerve or whatever. Um, Maybe I don't know Seth Rollins' health conditions at the moment. Um, but I maybe he returns tonight. I don't fully know. I think he's still hurt. Um, but I'm not sure. Something is gonna go down tonight. Something is gonna go down tonight during this main event. This is not going to be a clean match. Do you think we're gonna have a Monday Night Raw main event end cleanly? Absolutely not. There's gonna be interferences. The Vision is gonna get involved. Sami Zayn might get involved, even though he's on SmackDown. Um, but I don't know. But I'm almost want to say almost certain that CM Punk is going to retain the World Heavyweight Championship tonight. Let me guess, the men are main eventing. Absolutely, they are. And I mean, it makes sense in this scenario. For with the World Heavyweight title being on the line, like on a show like this, I wouldn't have the women's tag titles be the main event either. Maxine Dupree and Becky Lynch has been done before. And then obviously like Liv and Lyra are not going to main events a weekly show or anything like that. Punk and Breaker makes the most sense to main event this show realistically. Um, but yeah, I think this Monday Night Raw could could be very good. I think this has the potential to be a very solid Monday Night Raw. And I am going to give them a little credit for how they've built this Braun Breaker and CM Punk feud. I say little credit because it could very well end in shambles. Like we could have this great build for Punk and Breaker, only for it to end the worst way possible. Because we know if there's the worst option in terms of booking things, WWE will take that worst option more than likely. Um, but I have my hopes up for it to be a good match. I already know there's interferences. I'm going to prep myself before that, so I am ready for that. But yeah, that's what we have lined up for Monday Night Raw. No, but we honestly need to stop giving the men main event slot every damn week. I can agree with that. I can agree with that because I think we do need to normalize the woman main eventing more often. 100% I can agree with that and get behind that. But I think in a scenario like tonight, the World Heavyweight Championship being the main event does make sense. They haven't really built anything else up, um, to be the main event. Like what are the women in WWE just sidekicks? I don't think we want to get into my opinion on how WWE treats their woman today. I'm having a very positive day today. I don't think we want to have that conversation with Josh, because I have very strong opinions on how WWE treats their women's roster. They've brought back people like Brock Lesnar. That should tell you a whole lot in itself. Um, yeah, but I'm not talking about tonight. I mean, for the foreseeable future, absolutely. Absolutely. If there is a women's match big enough to be a main event, like if you have I don't know, if you have, I'm trying to think of something like, I don't know, if you have a Rhea versus Stephanie on a Monday Night Raw, which would be ridiculous to have on a Monday Night Raw, by the way. But if you had a match like that on Monday Night Raw, absolutely have that main event. But you know what happened to the women's evolution so far? It's the women's sidelines. I wouldn't go as far to say that. Like the women's tag title division has been heating up a little bit. And the women's IC title picture is getting some attention. Other than that, though, like it's not been good. I can agree with that. Like it's only those two divisions that are really heating up. Stephanie Vaquer, I is just doing something with Raquel and Nikki Bella. Jade Cargill is feuding with a a wall at this point. I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. Um, so yeah, a lot of the women's divisions in WWE right now has not been good. Oh, you mean the tag division with WWE's top stars who are being replaced by rookies? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't word it like that. I like the fact that we're having younger talent be brought up because this company loves um, giving like the 40-year-olds, especially when it comes to the men's division, they love giving the older people opportunities. That's why, Braun Breaker might not win the world title tonight because he hasn't reached 40 yet. But I like the fact that slowly they're bringing in younger talent, like coming up from NXT or whatever. No, I'd say rookies. Jade can't wrestle for shit. Julia sucks. See, Jade, I will get behind. Julia, I can't blame you for saying that, but she is a phenomenal wrestler. Like, just go look at her stuff in Japan because she was so good and she goes to the WWE. She kills it in NXT. She was phenomenal in NXT and then she gets called up to the main roster and whoosh, gone. Like they did not know what to do with her at all. Um so yeah, I I I feel bad for Julia how they've treated her. Yeah, well, she's a phenomenal wrestler. She can't just carry the title and expect to not defend it. That's not on her. That's not on her. That is on WWE's writing and their booking. Julia is a phenomenal competitor. It's just like her positioning in the WWE right now is to no fault of her own. That is on the writing, that is on the booking for her and for that women's US championship. That women's US championship is the worst booked title probably in the world right now, honestly. Like that is they do not know how to book that title at all. At all. It has been god awful. And now she's women's US champion again, which I hate. I hate hating on Julia, but man, like again, it's no fault of her own. It's the booking, but Holy man, can we do something better with Julia than just having her hot potato the women's US title and then not defend it every time she's champion? Well, it's making the two-time reign that Chelsea had to elevate the title look like a joke. Yeah, and to be honest, Chelsea didn't defend that title either, really. She defended against Sol Ruka. She didn't. The only thing that made that title better with Chelsea Green is that Chelsea just has a more entertaining character. That's really it. They didn't have Chelsea do much with that US title either. They didn't have any storylines with it. They just had random matches with her, and that was it. Chelsea was defending more than times than Julia did. Yeah, but very little. Like Julia defended like once, and Chelsea Green defended like two, three times. So it was more than Julia, but it still wasn't a lot. Um, so I think it's just because Chelsea Green is the more entertaining character, and I love Chelsea Green, by the way, and I loved her as women's US champion. Like she does bring something different to that title, and I think that hopefully Chelsea Green could put be put in a more prominent spot on the roster. But yeah, that's about it. That's all I got for the women's US title, man. That's It's been terribly booked, it's been terribly written, and they need to change something up like immediately. So hopefully this new year will bring new energy and new thoughts and booking and all that good stuff. But I'm not getting my hopes up either for that. Well, I'm giving WWE one last chance this month after my live event on Saturday. I'm gone. I know a lot of people who are in the same boat as you. I know a lot of people who have already given up on the WWE, and I will say, um, more often than not, it's harder to watch WWE every single week. Um, because it's and like I say this as unbiased as I possibly can because I don't do the company comparing thing. I don't say one is better than the other. I just enjoy watching wrestling. However, WWE has just, to narrow it down, just not been that good. And a lot of their writing is not that good. You bring TKO in, who I'm just gonna say it straight out, is almost ruining this company. And, you have people like The Rock who shows up, tries to insert himself in storylines, and then doesn't show up again. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And like I've seen that a lot too, Phoebe. Should have sticked with AEW a long time ago. I've seen so many people saying that, and like that's completely fair. It's completely fair. And I can understand why people like AEW better. I can also understand why people may like WWE better, but you know, I I'm in the boat right now of uh it's almost dreadful sometimes, especially with 3-hour SmackDowns, to cover this every single week. Um because of how this company operates. We mentioned it, how they treat their women's division, their political views. And I will stay away from the political talk as much as I can, but man, a lot of what they do politically is just not, we saw when Mick Foley did. Mick Foley left the WWE. Mick Foley, by the way, shout out to him. I don't think we ever really talked about that on the podcast, but shout out to Mick Foley. I love Mick Foley even more after that because, yes, stand up for what you believe in. If you are working for a company that, doesn't, isn't, in the right political realm of things in your eyes, then, or like in majority of people's eyes, and they're doing all the wrong things, then I think Mick Foley was in the right there. I absolutely think he was. Um, and because in AEW they actually booked their women's division. Yeah, I'd like to see more depth in their women's division. Rather it just be like the usual like Willow, Chris, and Mercedes and Hayter and whatnot. I'd like to see more depth in there. I'd like to see Red Velvet get more involved. I think she's fantastic. Um, Megan Bayne, I hope gets more involved as well. Julie Hart and Sky Blue still have some developing to do, but I think they'll be more involved eventually as well. So they got a lot of moving parts going, and I think they're heading in the right direction for their women's division. But just more depth absolutely is what they need. Um, but yeah, that's Monday Night Raw. I know we kind of went off track a little bit. We've been live for half an hour already. That is ridiculous. I've just been chatting for half an hour. But this is why I go live on TikTok, guys, and YouTube. Especially for TikTok because shout out to Phoebe. Phoebe is always in here for the Raw previews. She's not always in here for the Raw post shows because she's usually asleep. We could just edit that argument out. Unfortunately, not. We are live on both YouTube and TikTok, so everything is going up, unfortunately. But you know what? It's my podcast. I say what I gotta say, and I'll say what I want to say. And that's just how it is. But yeah, I will be live again for the Monday Night Raw post show later tonight. So I will get that scheduled, get that up. I will be covering Monday Night Raw. And hi, people. I will be covering Monday Night Raw, and I will have that up on the Kayfabe Central website and all that good stuff as usual, as it is every single day of the week, whether it be Raw, whether it be NXT, whether it be AEW, whether it be TNA, whether it be a 3 hour dreadful SmackDown. I am here every single week. I can't promise shit. I will try to see you there. That's perfectly okay because by the time Raw finishes, I know it's very late. So I'm not entirely surprised that you're not in the post shows. Um, yeah, I don't even know if I'll go. I might go live on TikTok still for the Raw post show. But we'll see where we're at. We'll see what we're doing, how we're feeling. But yeah, that is going to wrap up the Monday Night Raw preview for tonight. Everybody enjoy Monday Night Raw. Whether Chris Jericho returns or not, enjoy Monday Night Raw. Hasn't stopped me before. I just had a schedule change for a bit. Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, I'm going to call it a evening for now and I will be back after Monday Night Raw for the post show. And those four walls are staying up till Rumble. They just might be. Okay, Phoebe, stop, stop. I'm stalling now. I'm stalling. You called me out on this before. I will see you guys later tonight on the Monday Night Raw post show. And hopefully I see you guys all there. Until then, take it easy, guys. All right. Bye, TikTok. I'll see you guys tonight.